Welcome, everyone, to the Midnight Frogs podcast. Today, we are celebrating the 6th anniversary of the Midnight Frogs channel's founding, as well as the finale of Sergeant Frog Abridged. Today, I am joined by Yoshi.
Hello.
Travis. Jacob.
Gratuitous greetings.
So to start, a couple quick updates. For the Midnight Frogs, we've got one more gag reel coming out. It's going to take me a little while to go through the recordings I have and find the rest of all the bloopers, especially for Yoshi, because he was cracking up like every other line, mostly due to Jacob.
I would read one of your lines and I would hate you extremely.
Every time I read
to an extreme.
It's every time I read a pun that you wrote that I felt that way. Even if I didn't have to record it myself, I was still angry.
Yoshi, it's not my fault you have an interesting voice and an amazing delivery.
I mean, for fuck's sake. Like, a lot of Carol's lines are really just screaming and just piss baby. So, this session, for an hour and 20 minutes,
Jesus!
I was screaming my fucking lungs out, giving so many different takes and yells, that I thought this was the one where I finally died with my character.
Yeah, I didn't think about how much exactly Carol yelled in this 20-minute episode.
I noticed that like 5 episodes ago when that was all he was doing, just standing there going, ah!
Like, that's literally all he did in season 3. Scream and occasional character development and scream more.
That's the original series' fault.
Yeah, and I understand, because, like, the original story, that's all he really does.
Yeah.
And it's super hard to fucking incorporate that to an abridged and not have him do that.
I think this episode was just hard on everybody's voice because we all found a way for it to be difficult.
Yeah.
Yours was screaming. Mine, like every voice I did was scratchy.
I had to sing a song as Ocelot, which was fun, but it was still hard.
I had to sing it as Old Ocelot and Old Snake.
And in the end, everyone else.
Yeah.
That was my bad because I totally forgot there was more song when I recorded. I was like, after you released it, I'm like, oh shit, I was supposed to record more. My bad.
That's fine. I bullshit a write-in and then put it really low in the mix. You can't really notice it.
Yeah, I think that my voice was really present, it seemed, just because it's so deep.
To be fair, like, you were acting like it was going to sound like shit. It actually came out sounding pretty decent.
Yeah.
I had to re-affect the pitches for a lot of the recordings.
It did sound really ominous.
Yeah, like I told Jacob, it sounds like a big group of monks chanting.
Yeah.
For the longest time, I could not say Rock and Roll 72.
Are you looking through the script now?
No, I remember it because I was there for like 4 fucking minutes trying to say it. And I just kept laughing because how stupid the name was.
The one for me that kept making me laugh was Pooh is so kind, so sweet, like the summer breeze that stole my cat. Like, just reading it to Yoshi for his recording session, not even mine, I laughed. And then when I went to record, I laughed.
There were a few lines like that. I think we'll get to them when we talk about the whole episode.
I'm sure. Aside from that, we also have a couple of the song parodies coming up. Obviously, a Look at Your Boobs. That's still on its way. But I wrote out a parody of Pepper by the Butthole Surfers. I don't know if I've mentioned this on the podcast.
I don't think so.
That one's fully written. That's a duet between myself and Travis. So that'll be coming out as well.
I'm looking forward to that.
I suppose it's not a spoiler anymore at this point, but that one's based on Shura and Joriri, their relationship. And I've had that one planned since we came up with the idea.
It'd be interesting just singing as Jory the whole time.
Yeah, that's really what I'm most looking forward to. Like, I have an idea of what exactly I'm sure his lines are going to sound like, but I can't wait to hear Joriri.
Well, it works because the song is half sort of like spoken sort of rap and then actual singing for the choruses.
Yeah, it's a good song too.
Yeah. At some point, maybe within the next week or two, I've got plans for a couple of hangout streams. Not gaming streams, but stuff where I pull up a folder on my computer and show off some stuff to viewers. One of them, for a while, I've been wanting to do a bit of a retrospective on my really old YouTube poops from like back in 2009, maybe '08 for at least one of them. Just kind of look at those, feel bad about myself. Well, for most of them, like, the jokes are so old. Keep in mind, I did YouTube poops up until SFA 1R came out. And if you remember that episode, that's the mindset that I had when I was doing YouTube poops. So some of those jokes just do not hold up. But it'll be interesting to look back, kind of look at my involvement in that whole thing. But I have mentioned this on the podcast, I've got a folder in my Sergeant Frog Abridged files somewhere of just these miscellaneous files, drawings, images, a bunch of text files from throughout SFA's lifespan. Just random things I wanted to show off, including some things on one of my old external hard drives of stuff from like the SFA 1R days that I thought was lost forever. I'm just going to have a stream showing all of those off, reading some of those to people. There's some wacky, ridiculous shit in there that I think would be fun to show. But since SFA is now finished, at least the episodic series, I'll clarify that if anyone needs it further down. But I am going to redirect my focus now to Jetters. I mentioned previously I had gone through the entire episode listing of Bomberman Jetters and removed anything that wasn't necessary. So now we've got a tight episode list. It's like 20 plus episodes. It's going to take a while, but at least we now have an idea, and Jetters won't just come out once every year.
Right, see you guys in 18 years when we get to the season finale.
Yeah. Well, it did take us 6 years to do 25 SFA episodes, so you never know.
And it took us 6 years to do 5 Jetters episodes.
Well, because of SFA.
Yeah, it's true.
And the Straw Hat No, which I also will be redirecting my focus to.
God, I always flash back to the original plan. Oh yeah, every season is going to be 10 episodes, and at the end of every season, we do one of the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought SFA went out on a good note too, Jumbo Jack.
Yeah. I agree. I really like this episode.
We'll get to that in a sec.
Me personally, I don't think it could go anywhere else. Well, besides the movies, but like, there's just kind of nothing left. Even like in the actual show, because after this, I think this is like the only, and I say in quotes, story arc that Sergeant Frog actually had.
Yeah, that's why I decided to end it here.
Yeah, I can't imagine there could be ever anything to build a whole season off of, but I'm sure that there's like over almost 400 fucking episodes. I'm sure that there's still like a good handful that could like maybe make for small one-shot episodes sometime.
And those I'm fine with doing.
Yeah.
I couldn't do a whole another season with anything, though.
Yeah.
But also, a quick update for the Straw Hat No. All the other LPs we have going are still waiting to be recorded. Right now, we're just waiting for the guys to get some free time, which should be pretty quick here, right, guys?
It should be better into January. It's just December especially was particularly hectic for me.
Yes, me too. Right now, I'm not even in college because something happened with my winter semester, and none of my classes are registered, so I'm just kind of free now. And also, I started a job, but for right now, they ran out of hours to give me, so I'm kind of semi-unemployed. They said they'll call me back, but yeah, as of right now, I'm basically free, which hopefully means I can start doing Pikmin 3, which has been fucking sitting there forever. I have to replay it now.
You've basically just completely forgotten everything.
Yeah, like I started playing it, and then things got in the way, and now it's like, okay, no, I replayed the whole game first, and then when I did that, I'm like, why the fuck didn't I just record it when I did that? So then I replayed it, so that way I can like, all right, here's my plan for this. And then I stopped playing it, so now I'm just fucked, and I have to restart. The next time I restart, I'm just going to go for it, because I don't spend that many days on the areas.
I do have a LP announcement. I think Highwing is in the chat there. Yeah, there he is. Those of you who don't know, Highwing has a Let's Play going on right now of Legend of Grimrock 2. It's a challenge run. The main game is made to have you play 4 characters at once. Highwing is doing a single character playthrough, and he's doing it really well. It's a good LP. I've guessed it on a couple parts, but he was thinking of maybe doing a regular 4 character run just to supplement his LP, show it off. But his LP had gotten me to play the game. I really enjoy it. It's a great game. So I told him, well, I've been thinking of LPing it. I'll just do one myself. So I'm going to be doing a standard but sort of optimized 4 character LP of Legend of Grimrock 2. It's going to be kind of like our standard fare, going to show off all of the secrets, going to find all the treasures. There are 2 endings to the game. I'm going to get both of them. And I asked everyone in the D&D chat to just give me name suggestions for the characters because you can customize them. And I do have a character roster. It's pretty fantastic. One of them is a Minotaur barbarian named Ogre Taint.
I forgot most of these.
There's a insectoid battle mage named Cricket Dazzler.
Proud of that name.
There's a lizard man alchemist named Failure of a Sun.
Travis.
What'd you say about me?
Failure of a son.
Oh, right. Right. Sorry. I'm back. All I hear is Travis. I'm like, what did I do?
Exist.
It's out of context. It sounds like you just called Travis a failure of a son.
They're probably right, but
Shit.
Oh.
Feel bad for me.
I feel nothing for that.
I'm a sociopath.
I'm just talking about the Grimrock 2 LP idea.
So, just to kind of give you guys context, people I know have been getting into this app called Neko Atsume, and it's basically just a game where you have a backyard full of cats that just randomly show up. You're allowed to name the cats, and the names that were given were names I gave the cats. So, one of the cats is Failure of a Son. What was the other one you picked?
Ogre Tane.
Yeah, Ogre Tane is one of the other cats.
And the fourth character is a rattling farmer named Pubert. That was Jacob's idea, and Jacob, there's a story behind that, right?
Kind of. Not entirely. It's just something I said. I don't know. I referred to pubic hair as pubert for some reason. Like, so I don't know if it was like some person made of pubic hair or something. I don't know. I just thought pubert sounded funny. So now it became a name.
Sounds like a character from Binding of Isaac.
Pubert? I've never played Binding of Isaac.
If there was a pubert, it would be in that game. But yeah, I recorded the first, I think, 4 parts of that LP. I rendered and sent the guy his first 2 parts. I made sure to tell them not to watch the first part or even the second part because there's a surprise in there, and I don't want to spoil it. In fact, kind of tying in with that surprise, Jacob, I think this would be a good LP to have you join us in the commentary.
Oh, really? Oh, sure, man. I'd love to.
I mean, there's 4 characters, 4 commentators. It seems like it would work.
Oh,
Plus, if any of the usual people fall down a mine shaft, you'll have someone to fill in the space.
Well, hey there.
I'm afraid all 4 of us fall down the mine shaft.
Just kind of like that scream from Todd's Hole. Oh, keep going.
That'll be coming soon. It's going to be entertaining. Now moving on to Sergeant Frog Abridged, episode 25, the series finale. What did you guys think?
It was great.
Seems pretty epic of an ending and very Jacob.
It was a great ending. It ended great for everyone, mostly. You know, the not dead ones. They're dead forever. But you know, for our characters, that's great. And
somehow Caro got away with all of his bullshit.
Like, I like the last series finale, but this one was good too, especially since this one ends on a better note.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last one's like, well, you fucked up the world forever.
Forever until reset.
It was so bad we had to reset it. What does that say?
The ending wasn't bad in that sense. They were good episodes.
Oh, yeah.
It's just we couldn't do more SFA episodes after that, so I had to reset it.
And it ended up working out.
Yeah, but even just like the writing attitude for this episode was better, because the writing for this was really slow. It took us several weeks. We actually started writing it the same day I started editing episode 24. But for a good chunk of it, we could only get like a page written a day. But then once we got to, I think, Shurura getting into the robot or that mech fight or something, then we just kind of breezed through to the end. And to some of the most ridiculous writing we ever did.
I think it was just after that, actually. I think when we really started getting the blood flowing when Pururu first showed up, and then it went to some action scenes, which kind of slowed things down again. But after that, it was just hilarious.
I love
Yep, I remember last podcast someone asked like who your favorite character to voice for. I don't remember if I actually answered because I was worried to spoil things, but I think Puru was my favorite character to write for.
Oh man, she was great this episode.
I just love the delivery of like, who do you think you are? Me.
Yeah, Lily, when we were recording it, when she did the "It's a Hanukkah miracle," she really said, "I love this character and I love the lines you give me to do her."
I'm so sad she wasn't in more episodes.
Me too. But I was really glad to bring her back. She was hilarious this episode.
Yes. We'll get to her lines specifically.
Yeah. She's down the list. I think we mentioned while I was recording, but recording for this episode, there was a lot of screaming.
Yeah.
In fact, there was more screaming while I was editing. Not because the editing was bad, but because I had...
I'm about to say, you're just like, computer!
I actually had a lot of fun editing this one. I was surprised. But when I got to Shura's big fight scene where he just goes berserk, super pissed, beats the shit out of the platoon, my lines were actually not nearly loud enough for that. So I had to go back and record it. It was like 1 a.m. Thank God my parents were out of town.
Oh, Jesus.
And my grandma's like, she can't hear me from her room. Shura has got to be the loudest, most angry and manic character I've ever recorded. If you guys remember Fuki's really sad speech from episode 18, I wasn't nearly as confident with that as I was with Shura losing his shit. Shura going insane is a lot more my speed.
Yeah, it sounded really, really good.
And then I put in Napalm Death, and it got even better. Yeah, I was surprised at how much fun I was having editing this. Someone asked how long it took me to edit. Actually, I think it was because it took so long for Yoshi to get the free time to record that the timing got really compressed. I think I only had 2 weeks to edit it by that time. So I just burned through it. I think I did 2 to 3 pages worth every day, except for Christmas. And I've never done that much in a consistent time.
Yeah, as you were editing through it, like you would mostly be editing while I was out at work, and I would always look forward to like 2 or 3 clips to watch when I get home.
I was just surprised you managed to finish that much a couple days before your release date, because usually it kind of hits right on the button, but this one it seemed like you had a little bit of time to kind of fine tune some of the editing things you did a couple days in advance.
Yeah, that's a good point. A couple previous episodes, I mentioned that I got a lot of motivation near the end, and I ended up doing 2 or 3 days worth of editing. That's the same case for this. I think I did 6 pages worth of the script on the last day.
Jesus.
I did some things ahead of time, but for the most part, yeah. Editing was a lot more fun and efficient and fruitful than it's been for any previous episode. Getting down to the episode itself, there were some reveals in this, some things that we had planned for this entire season.
Way in advance.
A lot of them, things we just came up with out of nowhere that were like, that works too perfectly. For one, Shurura being the son of Viper and Joriri. The Viper part, I had always wanted that because I kind of liked what we were doing where the characters ended up discovering that they were related. I don't know why. It adds a layer to it that makes it fun to work around. And I mentioned that idea to Travis while we were writing episode 19. He had actually convinced me not to give that one away too quickly when we got down to Shurura's introduction. But he had the idea that Shurura's mother was Joriri. At first I laughed very hard because that's the weirdest idea I think he's come up with.
That's a lot.
And he's come up with many.
Yeah, I'm just saying, that sounds like an utter fabrication, but go on.
But then I thought about that. I thought, that's so good. We have to work that around. And so, like, a lot of this episode, as Shurura just gets more and more insane, it makes too much sense now. And when we got down to writing episode 25, everything about it worked. Oh man, it was a great reveal.
Yes. My hindsight is 2020. What can I say? It was just a really dumb idea, just because I like the idea, as you said, of Viper being the father, because that's just the running gag of the series, that he just made children on all the galaxies of the universe.
Yeah.
And I wanted a recurring character to come back, like one of the offshoot ones. I had so much fun playing Joriri, and just his mind can't be understood or encapsulated into any single sentence. So I thought someone who'd be totally crazy would probably fit having a mother like that. Plus, just thinking, oh, Joriri, the homeless man, is your mother. It just makes as much sense as a dad train. So,
or mom's son. It was either after you came up with Joriri's his mom, I came up with mom's son or something. It was while we were writing, but I think that was one of the few things where, like, we'll hint that Viper has children in really strange places, but we won't give away that Shurura is one of them or that it was through Joriri.
I still take credit for Dad Train, though.
Yeah, I think you did come up with that.
Got it trademarked and everything.
Ironically, TM represents my first name and last name, so there you go.
There you go.
So you put it there, and people were like, "Oh, we can't use Dad Train." But it's just your
every trademark has my name on it. So
you own everything.
Yep.
Jumbo Jack wants to know what everyone's reaction was to that news. I think for the most part, everyone's just, what? Wow.
Yeah, that was mine at least.
I was just like, yeah, it sounds right. Because it got to the point to where anytime you would send me a script and I looked through it, I would have absolutely no idea what the hell's going on, but I'm like, yeah, it looks like SFA.
I'll approve of this.
We didn't lose the spark.
No.
Jacob locked into the writing perfectly this whole season.
I'm really glad. Like, I keep fucking saying, like, if you told my 15-year-old self, like, you're going to be writing for the SFA series finale, he would shit himself. Poop would just be all over the place. And then I'd have to clean it up. Thanks, guys.
That's a beautiful birthday card.
Happy birthday
to you.
Happy birthday to Pooh.
You just come out with your dirty jeans, just wearing underwear with your long hair, just doing the Samurai Cop thing.
Holding a cake.
Jacob's never seen Samurai Cop, so he has no reference, which makes it better. Which makes it just all the better.
Just improvise it.
Yeah, just keep on going.
We'll give you the instruction.
So one of Joriyuri's lines, actually someone in the chat mentioned they didn't notice Joriyuri was in there. Joriyuri didn't show up physically, it's just his voice. It's kind of like, I haven't seen Psycho in years, but it's kind of like Norman Bates hears his dead mother in his head, thinks she's alive, and that influences him to kill people. That's kind of like Shura and Joriyuri in this. So you hear his voice, you don't see Joriyuri's face.
Kind of attaching back to the whole, like, Jury's perfect thing. I think it was from just that blooper. You can find him and kill him, that you went, oh, wow, this is going to work.
Yeah, that was a blooper, but then I thought if Shura heard that in his head, that would explain everything he does. So now it's not only just a blooper, it's also official within the series.
Which is basically how all of our writing ends up going. It's totally deep, but not.
Shit just kind of happens to link up, and that's happened so many times throughout the series.
Another thing I had planned since far back would be once we got to the finale, Kero met Shura, all the terrible shit that Shura did to his core. Kero would see that and think, I do that with my friends. Wait, you're like me. Oh, you're like me. And then Kero had some character development at the end of season 2 and through Asagiro Doro and through season 3. Up to like SFA 24, he was turning back into being a jackass. So this would be like the last slap in the face of like, okay, I need to stop. I had planned they would meet up and Kero would tell Shura they are like each other. That's a bad thing. We need to change this. I actually planned that would be like the end of the episode. But the source video kept going into like, sure, I think in the original he's just going into form 2. Like, I think he has a split personality, so he's just becoming a giant helmet. I liked it in this one. Kero's little speech makes him hate himself so much that he turns into a giant monster.
Yeah. And he starts leaking.
That was fun. We'll talk about some of the things Shura actually does when he tries to become Kero a little later down. Also, another thing, this was another one of Travis's ideas, Shura's realistic snake head.
Yep.
Of course.
The original idea was he would have a realistic cobra head, but the folds didn't work when I tried to put them onto Shura's body. But the head itself did, so I kept that.
I always find a way to push you as an editor for joke ideas.
You really do.
With enough finagling, and it ended up working. And there was indeed some finagles.
And it looked great too, and just watch. And what hit was that classic joke thought that if you want to make it funny, have something happening that's serious with a background that's stupid. Yeah. So with this, like, it's a serious conversation, but just seeing this South Park Canadian head photorealistic cobra, yeah, you just could not take it seriously, but it's still great.
I made sure that was my most sincere acting in the whole episode, especially with Shura, who's just been wacky this whole time. But then he's just going, bah, 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 bah.
And then it's all, I'm sorry, Kero.
I'm sorry for everything. That's everything that we had planned for the episode. The rest pretty much happened as we were writing. First thing, so Shura has this evil psychotic laughter at the start when Yokiki shows up, and then he says, "Stop laughing!" That's actually a reference to a song by The Damned called These Hands. It's about an evil clown who goes around strangling people, and it ends with Dave Vanian doing that. For the record, the album that song is on, Machine Gun Etiquette, is my favorite album of all time. If anyone at all cares about my music tastes and is looking for recommendations, that's my number one out of all the albums ever recorded.
Also, this episode, like, everyone's like, oh my god, Undertale music, but there was no love for all the Bloodborne music? Come on!
Yeah.
I love Bloodborne. I just put out a Facebook thing just saying, did I mention that I love Bloodborne soundtrack enough? Because I do.
From what I've heard, it is really good.
I was just listening to Gearman's first Hunter track, which is like the best track in the entire thing, if not the best track made this year. And I was like, this is so great. Oh my god. Why does nobody love this?
We'll talk about that when we talk about our favorite games of the year.
All right, fair enough.
Because Bloodborne is going to be on both of our lists.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Kero the serial killer.
It started off as that idea, but now it's kind of like half and half.
Yeah.
Like at first the idea was that Kero somehow murdered every member of the Shura Corps. I don't know, I thought it was a bit too dark, so we just kind of made it that Kero did something like minorly annoying to all of them, and they all never got over it. Except for Yukiki, he actually killed him.
Yeah, I think it was a mix, because way early on, Travis had the idea that everyone in the Shura Corps was someone that Kero had bullied in the past, which I had wanted to work that in somewhere. But as we were trying to come up with what Kero's little cards are, I think in the original they were like lottery numbers or something, just trying to figure out what they would be. Having all of them die didn't quite correlate with what their special powers would be, Because Yukiki, he died in the tundra, and when he was revived, it was as a snowman, so that makes sense. Couldn't figure out how to do it with the other characters. So after him, all the others died, but for really stupid reasons.
Yeah.
Kararo called Robobo a nerd, and he blew up. He wasn't a robot before, he was a person. He just suddenly blew up, and Shura brought him back as a robot.
And that in itself is a reference to the God Project.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think you were there. Remember fucking, oh, kinda. What happened was my character, Rhonda, we were fighting this, like, what was he? Like some kind of, like, cult leader?
Cult
Like,
leader old man who's stuck in a chair and you insulted him and then blew him up with a grenade.
yeah.
I blew him up
Rhonda-
with a grenade.
Rhonda,
Jacob called him a nerd.
yeah,
So
I
Jacob called him a nerd and he started sobbing. So then while he's sobbing, Yoshi's character just tiptoes up, pulls the pin on a grenade, leaves it in his lap, and then tiptoes away.
It's like in one part, like, okay, I know you say you're not doing the D&D, but are you uploading God Project?
I am. If Travis wants to do an intro, I'll need him to do that, or I can do it myself. I just need to get the story synopsis for the game.
Alright, okay. So at one point, we're fighting this person, and before that, my character, Nat's a Scottish lady who's super good at just being stupid and
That's all of your characters.
Except for the boss immediately before. You were really bad at that for some reason.
Yeah, that was the one time I was like, oh man, Nessa, come on, this is like your fucking forte. But
We're getting so mad.
yeah, I was like, I'm so upset because nothing funny's happening. It's like a real fight. This is boring. So at one point, they were at a grocery store, a convenience store, and she found a grenade in a safe, and she took it. And she's been holding on to it for a while. And so we find this cult leader guy. He was like the first big, well, maybe not like first big, but like third or fourth big major boss of the story. And so Jacob's character, Rhonda, calls him a nerd.
And I roll a 19. It wasn't a 20. I shudder to think what would happen if I rolled a 20. I think he actually would have blown up by my nerd alone. I'm running out of breath.
So the cult leader starts crying because he gets called a nerd by the nicest character on the team. And then my character just kind of like sneaks up to him. And I was like, all right, while he's doing that, can I put like the grenade on him? And I rolled and I got really good.
He just
So
put
my
the grenade in his lap.
So my character puts the grenade in his lap, pulls the pin, and then backflips away. And he fucking explodes.
You guys in role playing are horrible people.
Yeah.
This old man who couldn't get out of the chair because he was old.
I mean, Rhonda and Alora aren't too bad. Ghirardelli, on the other hand.
That's a story for another day.
Yeah.
Or later today. Either way.
I absolutely cannot wait for fucking McGregor to show up.
All right, moving on.
Moving on. Fuckkararo.edu. The title is a reference to Fuck Konami, which is a hashtag by Jim Sterling, because he hates Konami, because they suck as a company.
Yeah.
We came up with the board's idea because Karo goes on the computer, he's searching something up. Like, I think we came up with the board's idea just in general, but there's only like 2 or 3 websites that Karo looks at in the original source video. So just before I got up to start editing, I just went onto Pro Boards and made fuckkararo.boards.whatever and made that and just started posting a bunch of things that I could use as footage for the episode. Everyone on there except for Cooloo, that was me posting. I got Jacob to make a Cooloo account and post one thing, and it's the funniest post on the whole site.
I'm going to go to it right now. I have to like search through the wiki real quick.
I was wondering if you just like photoshopped that really well, or you actually made a thing.
It's an actual forum. You guys can go to it like right now.
I think what kills me the most about that wasn't even the post. Instead, it's .edu.
Yeah, I was about to say.
like it's a college. Like, oh yes, I attend Fuckaro University.
I fucked Viper.gov.
Yeah, like the government needs to keep track of all of Viper's kids.
No, the government hosts that website. It's important information.
Okay, here we go. Kararo twiddles his thumbs too vigorously sometimes. Kararo bought me expired pencils for my birthday. Kararo licked a lollipop horizontally once. Kararo got bit on the ass by a deer. That last one wasn't a bad thing, but it was pretty funny.
And that's Cooloo's only post on the whole forums.
And one thing...
I like how his username is Cooloo Hoi Hoi Hoi.
That was
hoi,
Thorne's
hoi.
idea. Like, it changed to that, and I was like, I didn't do that. But one thing I thought of, it was after, like, that part of the episode was already edited, I think. I thought of another one that I really wish I would have put in, and it was, Karo's name does not rhyme with Heteropteryx.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so upset I didn't put that in.
Nothing just Cooloo's.
But it's just nobody's name rhymes with Heteropteryx on Charon, or possibly in the world, in the universe.
When they go to the mansion, Kararo falls down the stairs, ends up in the basement. A couple things going on in the background. For the most part, it's just this sound effect I have, I think, from really old cartoons of someone falling down the stairs, a bunch of wacky sound effects. But also, there's an elephant in there, and there's also Raiden imitating an elephant, which is why Naked Raiden comes flying out after Kararo when it gets in there.
The recording us live alone, me doing elephant sounds as Raiden was so dumb.
I didn't even quite hear what it was. All I heard was like, brrr!
Well, there's that, and when I was just wondering, I was just straight, I was like, ah! You like that?
Yeah, and then they fight Kagege. Kagege's ability is to use people's shadows against them. The shadows basically have the same abilities as the original. Someone in the chat wanted to know what the doppelgangers were saying. Actually, what they're saying is forward speech, but I recorded it out normally. Then I reversed it, heard what it sounded like, spoke that, and then re-reversed it. So they're saying it normally, but it sounds really garbled and weird.
Part of me was worried that you would do it too well and it would just sound relatively normal, but nope, it sounded hilarious.
What Gyro's one is saying is, "Whoa now, Tallulah." That was Jacob's idea of, like, maybe that would be what Gyro's feminine name is when he's dressing up.
Yeah.
And I liked that idea.
Tallulah is a name that I go to, I don't even know, like older women. If I think of an old woman character, like her name's probably Tallulah.
The name is so old that OpenOffice and I think Google Chrome don't think it's a real name.
I don't know if it's a real name. I've never met anyone named Tallulah. It is a real name,
it's just that you spelled it wrong.
Really?
Yeah, it's with an A.
Tallulah?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because I actually used that name for the character. Like, you have to spell it like tall and then Lula.
Oh, 2 L's or 3 L's.
I think I knew that, but I didn't want to.
Okay.
That's weird. I like ours better.
Yeah.
Go for it.
What Dororo's shadow says is knives to meet cleaver. Whatever. He's throwing knives. That's all I could think of.
Yeah, at first I was thinking of a pun like knives to meet you or something.
And later Dororo's like, I didn't punch a donkey. The shadow says, you did and you liked it. That's a callback to episode 7 when little Zero's running says, I'll punch a donkey in the streets of Galway, which is a quote from a Scott Walker song. It doesn't sound funny when you say it out loud and explain it, but it's funny in the episode. Tamama and her shadow, they sing a line from Shark Attack by Split Ends when they're fighting. Shadowgara also says, I'll pinch your cheeks. That's probably one of the more understandable of the lines.
And Shadow Kararo is just a toilet.
Yeah.
Originally, I wanted it to be Dororo and just have Dororo be like, come on. But it works much better with Kararo, I think.
It makes more sense. They all personally hate Kararo.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think we haven't tortured Dororo enough lately.
And then when the shadows disappear, I recorded them all saying, on, so it reverses saying, no. But I thought it'd be funny just to have Tamama's still saying, on. So that's why it's doing that.
Yeah, I noticed that. I thought that was like an accident or something.
No, that was on purpose. I thought it was funnier. And here we go, Pururu.
Yay! This is jumping ahead a little bit for Pururu, but, you know, I watched this episode a fucking lot before it came out. So, I mean, like, not every single joke made me laugh every single time, but the one joke that made me laugh every single time I heard it was, sorry, I threw a dog at you.
Little Pururu is just so adorable and weird.
I thought that was a reference to the guy who threw a dog at me.
No?
Somebody threw a dog at you?
At one of my jobs, yeah. I think I've told this story before.
When the fuck did that happen?
It was a rather strange situation. If you want me to explain it, I can, but if you want to continue, let's just
go ahead. I feel like we had this exact situation when you brought it up the first time.
It's fine. When I was working at Apple, I remember helping a woman by the front door, and just suddenly I hear this voice call out from where the front door is here, here's your fucking dog! And as soon as I turn around, I see this dachshund spiraling at me like a football in midair. I just leap out in front of it and I catch it like a football before it quite hits the ground. It freaked me out.
I think I do remember that, actually.
I've never heard this.
Yeah, so we ended up discovering that it was a guy who was trying to steal his ex-wife's car, and the dog was in there, so he just grabbed it and threw it in the store like a football. So that's for customer service for you.
It wasn't a reference to that. I actually heard I re-listened to the audio when we came up with that joke. Doran just prefaced Little Pururu's lines by saying she just has absolutely nothing going on in her head. 2 seconds later, Sorry I threw a dog at you. The way I imagine it, I don't imagine like a small dog. I imagine like a fucking golden retriever.
Yeah.
Puru just goes, hey, Shura. I just want to animate that so bad. Gotta get Chess on that. I'll commission her to fucking animate Puru throwing a dog at Shura.
I like her follow-up. Here's a token of my five-giveness. Not the five-giveness part, but that's still funny. But because she threw a dog at Shura, and now she needs to forgive him.
I didn't even think of that when I said that. I was like, it felt normal to me until you pointed out.
She's even demanding it. She's like, I forgive you.
Ow! You now say you're sorry.
Somebody in the chat made fan art of Caro, and it's pretty cool.
Ooh.
Oh.
I want to see.
By Hey Booty. I'll put the link right here.
Booty. Aw.
It's pretty cute.
Fucking.
Yeah, you actually made Caro look cute, because he never looks like that.
Hey, he's
Yeah,
cute.
Yeah, what are some other great Puru lines? It was everything she said.
Coronians don't believe in potassium. Just pot ass.
That caught me off guard when you said that.
It was one of those things I didn't expect to actually fucking make you laugh, because it's just so, like, it's dumb in the dumbest way.
But it was so fast. Because, like, I thought you were going somewhere else with it. Koreans don't believe in potassium. Just because, like, we're aliens, we're weird. Just pot ass. Okay. You got me.
It's one of those things you think about, because what the ever-loving fuck is pot ass? That's real. Like, that's one of the things I just really want to know before I die.
Yuki gets it.
Yeah. I gotta ask him about the pot ass.
Well, one of the jokes that made me laugh because of how stupid it was, I looked at it and I was like, God damn it, you guys, just fuck you. It was the one where Natsumi's hanging up the suit and it's just talking about, it's like, well, it's not like a wetsuit, and I see the suit and it's wet, and I'm like, that is stupid as fucking goddamn it. Like, I actually laughed at it, like, oh, I'm so mad at myself.
That's half of Jacob's jokes for me, where I'm just like, I shouldn't laugh at this. God damn it.
And like at first we didn't want to go with it because Travis is right. We've punned a bit too much.
Yeah.
But we made it work. And then Fuyuki gets his hand caught in the fucking garbage disposal. And that made me laugh more than I actually thought it would, because I keep forgetting it's there.
That whole scene was gold.
We revved up our engines a little bit for that, and then the action scenes killed it a little bit. But then it came back.
Yeah.
Basically, Puru was the heart of this.
Yeah, when Puru first shows up, we hadn't actually seen her in her human disguise in SFA. She does it in a few episodes. It's kind of her thing. She's a special Coronian. The Kara platoon aren't good enough to be able to do actual human disguises. Puru is, but in this series, she just is disguised as a human. So we would have her just come in, just being herself, talking, and Natsumi would have no idea who she is.
Yeah.
So she just comes in. I wanted to tie it back with how Puru is obviously doing black market organ deals. So she's just talking about how she found kidneys at a library, which obviously she didn't. We don't know what's going on in her head, though. And were you and I working together on that, or was that me?
I think so. I don't remember who came up with the bookshop part, like kidneys in the bookshop. I feel like it was me. I think we kind of tag teamed it.
Yeah.
Rather, it's like one of us came up with the base and the other one tweaked it or something.
It goes back to her obviously stealing organs from other Coronians. We don't know what she did with them, but she was just gonna make money somehow.
Maybe it's related to pot ass somehow.
I have the love flashback that Shura has further down, so we'll save that.
I came up with the dumbest cry ever for a character just because.
Oh, yeah.
It was just a joke I thought of just because I always get amused or partially also frustrated when I hear someone sneeze when they have a lot of buildup and no sound. So just kind of like, really? So like I had the crying that way. It was a lot of buildup to like nothing. So just like.
That's kind of the way Chess sneezes, except like you don't hear the chew. She just goes, oh.
So it was like when Kara was getting shot with a laser, and he was like, "Come on!"
Like Sonic's reaction to everything is, You're like, it's worse than that. Come on. Shows him fall into into a black hole.
Let's see, another Puru line that was fun.
He's the kid who leaked in class.
I was thinking of that one. Yeah, that's just because Shura's leaking evil, self-loathing fluid.
Yeah. That's another joke that when I actually watched the episode was funnier than I remember.
A lot of Puru's lines, they're written great, but Lily's delivery is what nails it.
Yeah, absolutely. She said every single line perfectly the way I imagined them.
I like how this later season also became Kululu's attempt to explain bullshit science a lot.
Yeah. When she's talking about she remembers Shura and that he has no natural talents. I just thought it would be a funny backhanded thing to say. But it also implies that maybe she had something with him getting the helmet in the first place.
Yeah. Like, here, this'll help you.
Sorry about the hands. I'll give you a helmet instead.
Punch.
I think that's everything.
Yeah, Puru's the best character ever.
I enjoyed bringing back Robobo. In the original, I think it's just a giant mech that Shura uses. Like those clay statues that appear in front of him, they kind of morph together and then they become that giant robot. I don't know how. We couldn't really figure out what to do with the clay statues. I think Jacob had a really funny line talking about it, but
Yeah, originally I kind of wanted to like joke about them being amiibo. Shura says something along the lines of, "Do you like my collection of friends or something?" And Giro says, "Oh yeah, I bet that one's my ass exclusive."
yeah. That was a good line. We just couldn't work it in.
Yeah,
So we just like, here's the statues. Okay, Robobo's back.
basically.
But I was glad we could bring Robobo back because just doing that voice and running it through a modulator is so fun. It's just me doing this a lot. Why is this funny? Because it's monotone and loud at first, but then it gets louder when he starts panicking or anything.
And the tone goes up a little bit.
I like the line after Giro's like, "What is the robot a relative? I'm an in-law."
Because we really don't know. Viper has so many children.
You could have like fucked the Terminator.
I actually put in a few hints that Kagege might be another Viper kid as well.
Really?
Because a couple of things Kage does calls back to Grandpa Viper. When he first appears, he says, "I've been hiding from embarrassment for so long that I've become the shade." Calling back to Grandpa Viper, saying, "I've been on the train so long that I've become the train." I told Travis specifically to read it like that line.
I didn't think about that actually.
He hates Kararo because Kararo called him a wiener in front of his mom. And in episode 7, Grandpa Viper calls little Zeroro a wiener. So maybe that's where Kararo first heard the word.
Yeah, you're right.
And then he used it back on Kagege. But that's about like the only hints.
God, I hope Tamamo's not Viper's kid. That'd make everything just fucked up.
Well, maybe that's another reason why Kamama was a giant bird. Maybe that's what Coronian inbreeding looks like.
Good God. Anyway.
One of the things that Robobo says is insert STD. There's a very specific reason that thing came back, not just because he's using a drill. We put it in the episode because he's using a drill. It worked too well. But when I was writing this, I have 2 monitors set up. In the second monitor, I had the script and the video. I use OpenOffice to write out the script, and I was sharing the monitor to Jacob over Skype. He looked down and noticed at the very bottom of OpenOffice, it says insert and STD. Those are settings in OpenOffice, but put them together, and it's a very strange thing to say.
Yes. After I got done laughing at the fact that exists, I just thought that'd be a wonderful line for Robobo. And I think at the time, at least I didn't know if we were bringing Robobo back in this episode. I don't know if you had it planned from the beginning or not.
I at least wanted the giant mech to have Robobo's voice.
Okay.
Insert in OpenOffice, that's just typing out normally. If you click that, for some reason, then you insert text that way. Like, that's if you were to press insert on your keyboard, you would just overwrite the text. I have no idea what STD does. That cycles through like 4 different settings. None of them seem to do anything. But that's why that happened. Actually, Shura ripping off the star. In the original, his goal is to get Kararo's star because there's something special about it. He rips off the star. It turns out the one that Kararo's wearing is actually a fake that you just had taped on because the other's in the wash. And Shura goes back to the house, destroys it, goes looking through the laundry to find it. In this, he's checking Kararo's pulse because his goal is just to kill Kararo. His heartbeat's still going. Jacob came up with the idea that his heartbeat would have to be just some weird rhythm. I ended up putting the same salsa rhythm that I did for Tamer's Abridged episode 2, that opening.
You know, I forgot about that until I read the wiki, because I didn't even notice it when I was listening to the heartbeat.
That's where that comes from. But when he rips it off, we had the idea that it would be like if you ripped off a really sticky Band-Aid, just hurts like a bastard. That wakes Kararo up. The original is I just opened and he goes, huh? Jacob made me Photoshop the eye so it's all red and bloodshot, horrified. But when he's screaming and dancing around, Giro says, that's how you give me my scar, you dick. That's because in Ask Giro Doro, someone had asked how Giro got his star, but I didn't have any idea, really. I just thought Giro, he wouldn't really remember. He would just remember that it was Kero's fault somehow. But now we know. Actually, Giro, if you notice, he doesn't have a symbol on his chest. He just has his belt. So now we know why he doesn't have a symbol. It's because last time he did, it got torn across his eye.
I don't think they ever even explained that in the show, why he doesn't have a symbol, because he does when he was a kid. So we just one-upped the original Sergeant Frog once again.
Yeah.
Yeah, take that, Mina Yoshizaki, you bastard.
How dare you?
How dare you create a manga?
Oh, Kululu. Yeah, I mentioned I've really been enjoying him this season because he just does not give a shit.
He has been fun to write for.
Yeah, it's kind of come to a head in this episode because he's just doing shit off in the background that has nothing to do with anything. When Shura's talking to the platoon and Doro's yelling at him, you can just barely hear this crackling sound as Kululu turns around. That's because I'm having it. He's just chewing on his hand now. You don't see it, so fuck it. He's biting his hand off.
Yeah.
Too bad, like on this last episode, you couldn't have just like photoshopped a hook on his hand now.
Oh, that would have been cool.
It's a decision I committed to.
It would have been incredibly difficult and probably impossible, but it would have been cool.
I could need images of hooks from all different angles. I kind of had to do that with Shura's head. I had to get a bunch of different Cobra images, and then it took me like days to get it to look right.
You could have made his hand a cobra head.
The truth revealed. Kululu's hand is also Viper's son.
I'm sorry, Daddy.
Talks like a puppet. I'm sorry, Daddy. I remember a couple points, actually. One specifically, when you were sharing your screen, I was just talking to you. I don't remember if I was about the episode or not, but I was just talking. And suddenly you just dragged onto the screen a fucking smiling snake. It got me so off guard, I cracked up.
I did that a couple times. Just Jacob wasn't prepared for it. I just pulled up an image and scrolled it past. And it's one of the really dopey images. I think it's the one from like when the further image when they're all on the beach and you see the snake head more from the side. That one looks extra.
It's like,
but yeah, Kululu. Later on, Doro is having his little resolution. Kara will be fine moment. Kululu just starts bopping around in the background. In the original, he's just laughing because that's his thing. I thought it'd be funny if he just starts dancing.
Well, I'm here. Look at my moves.
He doesn't care what the others think. He's just enjoying himself.
I got my rock moves.
But all that said, it took him 3 hours to uncannibalize the mechs from the drill that HQ made them build.
In 30 minutes.
In 30 minutes, right. Still don't know how he did that. But within minutes, when nobody's looking, Shura, he's blown up the house. He's out of his mech. Shurobobo is just standing there. Kero mechs just crotch slam into it. When nobody's looking, he tears Robobo apart, makes this giant Gundam Kero. He can do that. So, like, how much time is he just wasting now if he could do that?
It kind of reminds me of me at work, actually. I can fucking fold shirts, like, really fast, typically. But some days I'm just like, I want to talk to this customer about Kleenex or something.
It's funny, like, especially when it comes to those kind of actors, I love to give them just lines to test them. So, like, almost like little rewards. Thanks for voicing in this. Here's a really dumb line. Here you go, Code. You get to be able to say the most ridiculous shit in just...
Yeah, both you and Thorne have been attributes to that. We couldn't think of a damn thing from Wa to say during that scene, but it would have been really sad if she didn't say something.
Yeah.
So, also there was a Wa scene that I wanted to use, but we had to cut it out, where there's a point where Wa attacks the giant Shura head with her Lucifer sphere. But what happens is she just hits it and then falls backwards. What I wanted to do was to have her just hit it over and over again, like, and have it do absolutely nothing. But we couldn't do it because of editing purposes.
Yeah, the footage wouldn't have allowed it.
What I really wanted, if we did do that, is to have the sound effect be like the Scout's aluminum bat from TF2, like, ding, ding, ding.
Or just a whipple bat, boom, boom, boom.
The footage actually prevented us from putting in a couple lines. When Kero first sees Shura without his helmet, says, whoa, some genes ain't dominant, huh? Solid Snake was actually supposed to pop up and say, he chose his own legacy.
Yeah, Yeah, half of that was because it wouldn't fit, and half of that was you just forgetting it.
I did forget, but then
I did too until the episode was done.
that image of Carol looking out going, ugh, that was the only space it would have fit. And that was the only time Carol's face was there doing that. It would have just been awkward and ugly.
Yeah. And since I forgot it too, I guess it wasn't too important.
Oh, the fun with the captions in all the different languages.
Yeah.
When Shura has decided, I'm going to be Carol. What that implies to him is, I'm going to speak Spanish and do laundry.
Yeah.
He's bad at both. It's like when he's doing laundry, he's just tossing it around. Granted, he doesn't have hands, and he admits that, to his credit. But he gets first 2 lines in Spanish right, I assume. I don't speak Spanish, but...
Quote unquote right, because I don't
Right.
think you are a church means a lot.
Right.
I tried to make it as vaguely wrong as possible. Es is the correct conjugation. But like, it is, right? Or is it usted eres?
Yeah, but see, the thing about when it comes to like translating English and Spanish, and this is the thing that happens in all like translations, is that when you translate something from English to Spanish, you kind of get a certain different conjugation. So some words will end up being like the second word in English will be the first one in Spanish. And then it just kind of like I remember one time Thorn he told me that he wanted a translation for I think it was like garbage dumpster vampire dumpster vampire something like that.
Dumpster Dracula.
Dumpster Dracula, something like that. And so when I translated it, it was Vampiro de Basura or something, which means vampire of the dumpster, which is now adding 2 words. So when you do it backwards, it gives you a completely different thing. So when you do that, it's kind of like you're doing a Rubik's Cube where it's like, all right, you go 2 spaces forward. All right, now you have a completely different thing.
I was thinking specifically in this context was, I know for each pronoun in Spanish, there's a different is that goes with it. Tú eres, ustedes. Ustedes is correct, right?
Mm-hmm.
I almost wanted it to be not correct, like usted eres una iglesia. Even then, like, saying usted is technically kind of incorrect.
You can use es or usted, like they're both is, but it just, I hate languages.
I mean, like, usted is slightly incorrect too, because you say usted to somebody who you respect generally. It's like saying it to like an elder or a teacher or something. But like, sure, it probably doesn't have much respect for Natsumi, and neither does Kero.
I guess it just depends on the colloquialism of the person. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's something.
But I added that in because it would make it like slightly more ridiculous.
And it's Shura, and he's getting languages wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when he said la ropa interior, I'm like, no one says that, but okay.
What is like the proper term for underwear?
There's a lot. I'm just.
All right, never mind.
I don't want to say that learning English is easier because it's fucking ridiculous too, but good God, these 2 languages are so hard to learn.
English is the meat grinder of the world languages. We just took everything, beat the shit out of it, and tore it apart.
I'm still not entirely sure why Ustedes una Iglesia made you laugh so much. I think I said it, and you didn't really have much reaction until I told you what it meant.
That's why, yeah.
You are a church.
Yeah, he would get that wrong. But he gets it so wrong that when he says no, he's not even saying it in Spanish, he says it in Portuguese.
Yeah,
So that's what now.
I honestly think that most viewers would just assume that that's just a weird way to say no. Listening to how you said it, it doesn't really sound like another language. It says just like saying no.
Yeah, it sounds like Christopher Walken.
Yeah.
No.
No!
Wow.
But like anytime any of the characters say a different language, I actually had the caption change the font as well. So it's kind of the hint of this, like, that's not Spanish.
Mhm.
But also he's so bad at it. Puru appears in her normal form. He says, my love. I want it to be a completely different language. So he says, mijn geliefde, which is Dutch for my love.
Yeah, mi amor.
I would have been like me moron.
Me moron.
Yoshi just hated me for making him say, I didn't leave nothing, man.
That was your idea, right?
Yeah, because mijn geliefde, it sounds like you're saying leaf and mang.
Yeah.
Well, Kararo's there.
God. I can't leave you guys in charge of writing anything without it going into pun territory.
We're smarter about it.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, did you get up
For
on
this episode, at least.
Oh, you got up
Cuckoo
on
is cuckoo doo doo. Yeah, obviously.
I said
Yeah.
this episode, at least.
Fair enough.
And that was a good line. I don't care.
Cuckoo doo,
Yeah.
you cuckoo doo. I'm just like, oh.
That was a bad line, but I liked it because of that. Another thing to do, Kararo, when he has his "you are me" speech, Shura and Dororo say "ke," but Giroro gets it wrong this time. He says "qui." When I got down editing, I thought that would just be it. But
You know what's kind of funny about Kui is that's the sound a duck makes in Spanish.
Really?
So it's literally like a
What? Quack.
quack. I looked through the Google Translator just to find a language that would translate Kwee, Kwee, into anything. At first, I couldn't find anything, so I did KWI. In Polish, KWI Kwee is April, so that would have been fun, and that would have tied in with the 4 and 9 thing. But I went looking through some more, and I got to Chinese, and that translated Kwee into taste.
Taste?
Yeah.
Motherfucker.
I thought, well, that's clearly superior in every way.
I also just now remember that Kui was the name of a Dragon Ball Z character, and I think that's also some kind of Japanese food. I forget. Like CUI, Kui.
Jumbo Jack confirms that that's what taste is. When Pururu gets zapped by Shura, flies back into Kararo. Kararo says, "Sorry, I'm trying harder with Tamama." Just because I've gotten a couple comments, I think they're from the same guy. It's just like, didn't Kararo and Tamama break up? No, they've just been going through a really rough patch for the last 2 seasons. I want to signify, at least part of Kararo's character development isn't regressing. He's still being an asshole, but at least his relationship with Tamama is mending, and he's putting in the effort to do that. Because way back in episode 11, he outright had sex with Pururu. Put in a similar situation, he was like, no, I'm going to put forward the effort for this time. Oh, Travis has to leave.
Unfortunately, I have some business to take care of, so I will catch you folks later. Hope you guys had a fantastic holiday, and cool thing, we made it to the end, so I'll catch you guys later.
Bye,
Sure,
Travis.
Next, Shura's love flashback to Pururu as a child. We already talked a good bit about that now. I think we've gone through most anything. Though one additional thing, when Lily got down to recording, all I had written was for little Pururu's laugh, was just going, ah ha 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 ha, ah ha 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 ha. She ended up doing the same laugh that Mandark does in Dexter's laboratory.
Ah, ha, ha, ah, ha, 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 ha. I didn't even notice that, but you're right.
Yeah. Ace K Gamer says, I think Doro means mud in Japanese.
Aw, poor guy.
My name is Mud. Shura has the flashback. He says Pururu was the only person to treat him with kindness while at the same time breathing.
Dorn didn't get it quite at first, and he thinks it's kind of better if you don't get it, but I wrote that as like a callback to Nui, since growing up, Shura's best friend was a doll, and dolls don't tend to breathe. At first, he did not quite get that, and he just found it hilarious.
Oh, that reminds me. Jacob made his own image of...
Oh, yeah. Hold on, let me get that.
Another one of Shura's lines. When he's talking about how much he loves Pururu, it is, Pururu's so kind, so sweet, like the summer breeze that stole my cat.
I just thought of that out of fucking nowhere.
And I died. Like I mentioned earlier, I laughed so many times just recording for other people, getting down to my own recording. I'm sure I saved that blooper.
Here's the thing I drew. It's my best representation of the summer breeze stealing Shura's cat. Counting like the body, the head, and the cat as their own entities, there are 4 different entities here. The Shura head is just reversed. The cat just moved. Like,
Yeah.
he's still got the same expression on. Just
Hey.
looks at the screen like, well.
I can't decide which of these 3 images I want to use for the podcast image. I want to use one of them.
How about all 3? Just fit them all.
We'll find a way.
Yeah. It's like a fan art compilation, like a collage.
So that was 2 lines straight from Jacob. I just lost it.
3, actually.
3?
At the same time breathing. Sorry I threw a dog at you. And then the summer breeze who stole my cat. That was my 30 seconds of shining glory.
I managed to insert my own pretty good one with, I can assure you Tama does not breathe.
Yeah, I think that was you.
Not in my mouth anyway.
Then it's a callback to what Shura calls everybody in episode 20. Not Sputnik.
Yeah. Oh, why Kululu is doing bullshit science thing. It's because in episode 24, Travis had the funny idea that Kululu would talk seriously about bullshit science. So there's a teddy bear gene present in all life forms.
All life forms.
All life forms.
Like the human, frog, tree, chromosome. Who wants a chromosome plush? You just gotta be Nui. Wait, chromosomes aren't alive. Like amoeba. That's what I meant to say, like amoeba.
So then we got to this. Shura transforms in a giant helmet. You can see him getting sucked up into it. That was another good point for Kululu to be like, oh my god, look at this.
At that scene, I think I described it as the worst drawn scene in Sergeant Frog.
Yeah.
Everything is wrong about everyone there. Kululu's eyes are not even close to centered. Kararo's face looks all jacked up. Giraro's face just looks ridiculous. It made me mad, but it was also absolutely hilarious. Absolutely hilarious is something I say a lot of, it seems. Giro looks like a zoo pal, like one of those plates.
Toro looks bad. Giro looks bad. Tama looks okay.
Purr looks fine.
Kararo looks kind of bad. Kululu looks, everything is wrong. His eyes look like they just did not try.
Yes, that's unedited from the original scene.
They look a little better when they move and they look down at Kululu, but that exact image has got to be one of the worst drawn shots in all of Sergeant Frog.
I almost wanted to call back to it, but I just hope that anyone who sees it gets a laugh out of it.
Not too many other things through the rest of the episode than he explained. A lot of them tie back into what I already talked about. But one additional thing, Ocelot shows up.
Yes.
This time in his Metal Gear Solid 4 version. The weird thing about Ocelot, at the start of the season, I had no idea what to do with him. Season 1, that was all Solid Snake. Season 2, we brought in Raiden. And we knew what we wanted to do with them. Ocelot. First idea, he would be like Inspector Zenigata. That didn't go anywhere. Then we decided to make him say Jacob things. And then last episode, he would be Ocelot from Metal Gear Solid 5. So this time he would be old Ocelot. And I just think that's funnier just because it's his own unique thing, him changing constantly.
Yeah, I wanted to do that. I came up with the idea a long time ago, actually, but I didn't say it because for some reason I thought there was going to be another like 2 or 3 episodes, and I wanted him to like have 2 episodes in each age. But I had to like bring it up real quick, like, oh shit, it's ending.
What he says when he falls down on Kararo is, macaroons!
This is from a long time ago.
That isn't in a video anywhere. Like, it's not one of Jacob's videos like the previous things he said. It's something he said in a really late Skype call. He's just eating macaroons, and they keep falling apart. He said, these macaroons are bullshit. We were just sitting in silence. Nobody was doing anything, and that comes out.
I think it was mostly you, honestly. I don't remember anyone else laughing too much.
I feel like Yoshi was laughing, too.
Because I vaguely remember him saying that. And that just wasn't the perfect thing he would say at the time. All right, Jacob.
I kept talking. I was going to explain why they were bullshit, but you guys cut me off as you usually do with laughter.
Jacob has a tendency to, like, say something, like, sometimes we'll be in a call and then, like, we've already chatted for, like, 4 hours, and, like, by this point, we're basically just out of stuff to talk about. We're just kind of sitting there. My absolute favorite fucking thing Jacob's ever said during silence was during the time when like a new epic rap battles of history video came out. And it's just complete silence. And then Jacob, so fucking excited, he's like, "You guys, there's a new epic rap battle video between Santa Claus versus," and before he even said the rest of it, we were already laughing. He's like so happy, like, holy shit, you guys, Santa Claus can spit some rhymes. Like,
I was just kind of excited that not Santa, because the other one was Moses, played by Snoop Dogg, and I thought that was just kind of cool. But you just fucking ruined it. Completely shat all over my excitement. I remember at the time I was actually a little bit annoyed, but looking back, it was really funny.
This is like the perfect time. You're just so happy, and we're like, okay, Jake.
And I was just fucking playing Tony Hawk while we were doing that.
HK Gamer in the chat asked what call was that. You guys wouldn't have heard it. Nobody recorded it or uploaded it anywhere. It's just when all of us were in a group Skype call sitting around.
Yeah, this was like 3 years ago or something.
It's pretty old, yeah. All right, the rest, for the most part, is all the cast roll call, the credits and everything. Tamama's hoo-ha. Jacob, you want to explain that?
Yes. So I have a friend. She was a regular in my live streams before Skype and streaming stopped cooperating. Now I can't have Skype calls while I stream anymore. My friend's Song of Awesome. She's kind of disgusted by sex and things that are anything sexual. She refers to them as illegal, and I think it's hilarious. But she refers to vaginas as hoo-haws. And we're talking about how Caro's sensitive side is kind of fucking with their sex life. I just out of nowhere said, well, you turned my hoo-ha into an uh-oh. And then you repeated it, and you kind of laughed in the middle of it while in the Tama voice. I actually thought that sounded adorable. Just, you turned my hoo-ha into an uh-oh. That's another one. Like, every time we were reading through the script, you had to stop to laugh at that one.
Yeah. Kululu's one, he's just lying there. He's actually watching the guinea pig video from episode 3, the very first start when they're watching it on TV.
Yeah.
I just thought that would be a funny thing to bring back. But I also realized while I was editing that was the episode that also introduced Kululu. So nice way to bring things full circle.
Yeah, you're right.
To unintentionally bring things full circle.
Yeah.
Speaking of episode 3, want to talk about that coincidence you noticed?
Oh, yes. So you guys remember Kara's line, "We're going to take a can of soda." That was in episode 3. In episode 13, Kara once again says, "We're going to take a can of soda." In episode 23, HQ does, "We're going to blow the planet," and go, nanny, 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 get off it.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty neat. And I said, if we ever like make enough like little shorts to make it up to 33 episodes, we got to bring it back.
Guess so.
Or just you just pick movie 3 and that's good enough.
We are doing movie 3.
Oh, there we go. We got to do it.
Jesus. And then we'll have done it 4 times, and the joke will be complete.
Voila.
Aki, her only thing is just sitting there going, yeah. Because this whole season, she didn't do anything. I think she only ever showed up in episode 20, and all she did was go, because she's tied up by Mekake.
Yeah.
She doesn't appear anywhere else. I like to think that's because in episode 18, she tells Natsumi, "You're the woman of the house now." I like to think she took that to heart. She has no responsibility to that house anymore, and she's just gone now.
Natsumi went to college, got a job, just cleans the house, cooks everything, tucks in Fuyuki, like does all that shit.
Well, she does it in the actual show anyway.
Yeah, Hockey doesn't do a ton.
She's just the mom. Why is she in the show again?
Because having 2 teenagers living on their own would be weird.
She has boobs.
She does.
That's pretty much it.
2 of them.
Yep. As opposed to
3 of them, which would be weird.
"We're going to take one of your boobs."
Put it on Natsumi's desk.
Let's say you're the woman of the house now.
Is Aki in the 3rd movie at any point?
I don't know.
She's probably there for like 5 seconds, like, "Hey guys, I'm going to work," and that's the whole line.
I don't see her on the DVD case anywhere. I skimmed through the movie. I didn't see her, so it's probably not.
Okay.
God, that's too good. Okay.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, but kind of amazing at the same time. Moving on. Next one that has an actual meaning. HQ is lying there dying. By this point, the caffeine's probably worn off, and now he's starting to feel it.
Yeah, I imagine he has like a migraine equivalent to having a jackhammer on your head.
In fact, the original image, you could just barely see his mouth out from underneath the credit. So I zoomed it in so you don't even see it. You don't know what he really looks like down below there.
Yeah, my original idea was to have him photoshopped into a hospital bed. It would actually be kind of a depressing scene because you'd just be laying there in silence. You just hear beep, 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 and then maybe at the end beep. But it was just could be fucked.
Yeah.
It's good the way it is. I noticed that like Dokuku, Giroru, and Robobo were all in a row, and none of them had any lip sync. So that was like the fastest 15 seconds in SFA history.
Yeah. I love characters with no mouths. And the last thing in there, Yukiki, his one is just me stomping on the ground and saying, "Fuck you." Originally it was going to be Jacob, but then like it didn't rain there at all.
Yeah, what originally was going to be me stomping on a puddle and saying "fuck you" because Yukiki had melted. Thorns technically makes more sense because Yukiki melted in a yard. But I had one opportunity to do it. It was after it had rained. There was a perfectly good puddle in the street outside. But this one son of a bitch, like middle-aged guy, like probably early 40s, riding his bike in a circle, like up and down the cul-de-sac. It's like, dude, you're old enough. You can go outside the neighborhood, dude. And I didn't want to fucking go out there, record myself stomping in a puddle saying "fuck you" and going back inside. Someone might have called the cops. So
I mean, I felt like that would have made it better if he was just in the background.
Hello, old bike guy. So yeah, that was my one opportunity, and of course, it's never gonna fucking rain again in this horrid rainy state. So, and of course, in California, you're having a big old drought, and then it rained there. So there you go.
Yep. Though the best part is I had to bring out the hose to make the puddle.
Oh,
It did rain, but then that was a day later.
oh, damn it.
And actually, that was just my shitty iPod camera. So you couldn't really tell that there was water there, but there was a little bit of a squish, so it worked, whatever.
Yeah, it made enough sense.
But the last thing in the whole episode, the whole thanks and apologies list and oh, do not forsake me. The thanks and apologies list, I had that planned since before I started editing. It would just be a list of every single person who had either voiced in the series, written for the series, or had been cast in the series but never actually appeared, and just list them and thank them for their contribution to the series. Part of that was, this is where the apologies part of it comes in, because a lot of those people we really did not treat very well in the first few years. There's Fat Man and Ghost on the list, PS2 God. People, if you listen to old Fatty Time podcasts, you might know about them. But there's also a person like Blue Kurisu, who back during the Momoka fiasco, she was brought in as an understudy to another person, Al V, who was going to voice Momoka. Neither of them got in the episode. Yoshi and I just did not treat Blue Kurisu good at all. I really felt bad for her. I actually looked her up a little while after that whole thing, like a year or so, and she had just disappeared off the face of the planet.
Oh,
So I felt guilty about that. So this was just everyone who at all had something to do with SFA. Just wanted to thank them. SFA owes them something. And oh, do not forsake me. I have no fucking idea.
I don't know. I thought of it one day. I thought it was funny. I really there was nothing more. I just thought of them all singing "Oh, Do Not Forsake Me," which is a They Might Be Giants song, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it'd be funny. I thought of it one day driving home from work. It's just like, oh, that'd be pretty funny. I'm gonna bother Thorne until he puts it in.
Hey, sometimes you just gotta put something out there.
I thought it was a good way to just wrap up the whole joke with the snakes, Raidens, and ocelots.
Yeah.
Just have them all together, including ones we haven't even seen yet. That's the reason Old Snake is there. And that's kind of why I thought that song would be perfect, because it goes, "For I am 1,000 years old." We were joking that if we ever got to a season 4 in SFA, Old Snake would show up. So that's a perfect point for him to show up, along with Old Ocelot.
Part of me wants, if we ever do anything else for SFA, I kind of want some more side characters to appear, like Otacon or Huey or something. They could be pretty fucking funny, especially Huey. He just comes in and makes everyone mad.
I didn't kill everyone in the house, Snake.
Okay, that was kind of a good impression.
No, it wasn't.
A little bit for like the beginning.
Thank you, Jacob.
Yeah.
I doubt we'll do anything with the Flash miniseries.
Yeah.
The appeal of working with the anime is that it's kind of cheap. There's only like 2 or 3 lip flaps. With Flash, they could be a little more precise. There's probably more movement, and that would be a mess to try to edit.
I haven't seen any of the Flash series. Is it on like online somewhere?
I think so.
You're not missing much.
Am I not?
I saw the first one and it was like kind of like we're doing a somewhat reboot, kind of not really thing, and I was just okay.
I think Cyborg Raiden only showed up because we had put all the others in there. And I just like Raiden and Revenge's Jack is back. I watched the Chip and Ironicus LP of it, and Ironicus just kept going, Jack's back! That'd be funny if Raiden showed up, says that, and eats everyone. I couldn't get it to work right, so I'd just have him eat the camera.
Yeah, originally everyone was going to be like vacuumed into his mouth, like, I'm sad that didn't work out, but I still like the way it turned out.
I tried to make it work like that, at least make it look like the camera was spiraling into his mouth. The best I could do, made it look like Raiden was walking ominously towards the camera. I think that works fine.
When we wrote it, I imagined that it was just like all the characters flying into his mouth. I didn't know the camera would be included too.
Yeah, everyone including the camera, but that didn't work out. Originally, I was going to do Cyborg Raiden just because I had that exact tone in mind, but then I got down to recording Raiden with Travis, and he said it in Raiden's tone, and it's like, fuck it.
Jack's back!
Jack's back! Yeah! I love Raiden.
Me too.
Such a piece of shit. But that's everything for SFA 25.
Yay!
It was a fun ride.
Very fun.
And I'm glad we were able to end it on a higher note, like episode and my attitude towards the series, than with season 2.
I re-listened to some older podcasts, and it was kind of sad how I could really tell you guys were just so fucking sick of it.
Yeah, but I actually had fun with this one. Went a lot better.
Yeah, the whole season as a whole, right?
For the most part, yeah. I was feeling really unsure in the first few episodes, around the time after episode 20 came out, because there was a huge gap between that one and episode 21. But yeah, that's everything.